We love supporting and promoting the creators of musical theater throughout the world, and we would love to have your support as well. Go to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the Become a Patron button because a supportive community is a strong community. Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Yovanov. Now, you never know what you're going to find when you're looking around social media. I was on Twitter not too long ago, and in my stream, I see this at 10 Glow TV. And it says it's the first social network for theater artists. Well, this has my curiosity piqued, of course. So I go to their website, and it says it's a combo of YouTube and LinkedIn, and maybe most importantly, no cat videos. And, that got me even more interested. So today, to tell us more about 10 Glow, is the Chief Growth Officer for the company. I'd like to welcome to the show, Tim Sebastian. Tim, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
No problem. No problem. So I start out every one of my interviews the exact same way. I want to find out, who is Tim in his 30-second bio? Tell me in 30 seconds, who are you?
Sure. Okay. So prior to the Broadway shutdown, I was a company manager. I was working on a show called Rock of Ages, which we were doing our 10th anniversary production in New York City. And I was working with a company called KGM Theatrical. And they are sort of the ones behind 10 Glow here. And so we all went from managing shows day to day and handling contracts and payroll and all these exciting things, and shifting over to creating a website. And so that's how I landed here, and that's how I got here over the last 6 months or so.
Nice. As a company is smart, you had to pivot. You had to figure out what to do with everything that's
Exactly.
happening. Nice. Now, have you always been into musical theater? Have you been into theater, or is that something you developed later?
No, I've always been into theater. It's something I've done since a child. Always actually wanted to be on the backstage side. So I was unlike a lot of those people who wanted to be an actor and then discovered stage management or designing down the road. I always wanted to be like on the back end, like directing shows in my basement and all of that as a kid. And then I went to school for theater. I went to NYU, and I got a degree in theater management. And so then from there, I jumped into it.
Hey, it's great. You know what? People like yourself who have no desire for the spotlight are awesome. I have to tell you, you guys are fantastic because we need people like yourself. I started out wanting to be a star, but I became the back end as well. And so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, of course. I love it. So can't complain.
Awesome. So let's delve right in. What exactly is 10 Glow?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned earlier, it's what we're calling a combo of like YouTube and LinkedIn for theater artists. And so it works like a standard video sharing platform. And the idea is that so there's all these platforms out there, which are fantastic, that promote that where you can stream shows, you can stream producers talking, you can get master classes basically is what I'm getting at. There aren't a lot of platforms out there aside from YouTube where you can actually get user generated content from people who may not have an agent, or maybe in another country or another city and don't have access to auditions or artistic directors, or all that. So we created 10 Glow because we all felt like there was a need for a platform that ultimately gave those people an opportunity to get their work in front of what we call the gatekeepers. And so our sort of slogan is that we have no gatekeepers because no one's checking your work before it's uploaded. No one's saying you can be on this website or you can't be on this website. It's for people who have created something and just want to throw it up on the internet and see what happens, whether it's feedback or whether, an artistic director actually approaches, a book writer and wants to do their show.
Nice. So what was the impetus to start it? We know the pandemic, and like you said, you pivoted and you changed, but what was that eureka moment in the company that went, "Hey, why don't we do this?"
It's a good question. I think that we all obviously didn't expect this to go on as long as it had. So I think we at first everyone, we all work long hours and are in tech all the time and all this. So at first we were like, okay, 4 weeks. That's not a bad vacation right there. And then I think as this started to progress, we looked at different things. Daniel Cuny, who's one of my coworkers, who's typically a Broadway and off-Broadway general manager, he did a little like podcast and started interviewing some people. And then he called me up one day and was like, I had this idea. What do you think? And so that's sort of where it came from. And then we threw a team together, and it's continued to evolve. At one point we didn't know, like, was it based on user generated content? How are we going to get it up there? And so as the more research we did, we felt like there was really a gap in the market for this piece. So that's kind of, we've navigated, and we're continuing to navigate and see like exactly where we fit in. But it's been a windy road, but that's how we ended up here.
Nice. And how long has the site been up?
The site's been up since July. We invited a bunch of friends and colleagues to start uploading videos and just see how it worked. And we basically said, break it and give us your feedback and all that good stuff. And now we've gone with word of mouth, and we've allowed other people to upload. We've done a couple partnerships. So, it's slowly progressed, but it's been up since July. I'll say we're still in a beta, but we're headed towards launch. So there isn't a date for that yet, but we're definitely getting there.
No, hey, you got to work the bugs. It's like going out of town tryouts, right? You gotta work out the things.
Exactly. We're calling this our rehearsal period. So maybe we'll move into previews in a couple weeks.
Have you found anything that you wanted to try, but it just seemed like too big a scale and you had to bring it back? Or is there features you want to add in the future?
Yeah, so we're absolutely so we have like a long list of features that we want to add, and we also turn to our users for things they want.
Mm-hmm.
So let me think. Like initially, let's see, what's a feature that like a user suggested that we actually went forward with? So this is a silly one, right? But we're all theater makers, and so we're theater makers, and I guess to some extent we're tech nerds, right? But we're not. We all have professional careers in theater. And so we don't think about the little things that, had someone who had worked at Facebook or Twitter probably would have thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
So something like we thought about early back in the day is our users were like, we can't reposition our cover photos. And so they were like, but they're getting cut off. And so that was something that we were like, that's why we have a beta test. And that's why we have users test the site. And that's something where our users were like, we continued to get that feedback. And so we bumped that to the top of our list. So that's just an example of that. In terms of things we're looking for moving forward, let's see, I think ultimately we're looking to continue partnerships and reach out. There's a lot of people who have started other pandemic companies and that are theater focused. And so I think we're in talks with a bunch of different organizations about how can we partner with you? How can we build out something on our site that works with yours? And so, we're looking to band together with some of those people. And we most recently, one of our promotions was with Eisenberg Beans Casting, which does casting for film, TV, and some theater stuff. And so what we've been doing is every month, last month was our first one. We'll have one coming up in a week or so. And basically they come up with a prompt for our users. And so last month it was the Empower Power Ballad Challenge. And we basically give everyone a week, and they learn about, the prompt comes out on Monday and it's due on Friday. And then ultimately at the end, Eisenberg Beans comes up with their top 10 picks that they liked. And so we blast that out on our socials and put it on the site. So it's things like that that are continuing to evolve. And so they now have, we have our little tabs at the top of the site that we call pills, because they're pill shaped. And so they have their own pill right now that kind of has that. So we continue to build stuff out as it comes.
Nice. Yeah. And the partnering up with people is a brilliant idea, because no one can do this alone. Theater is not a solitary endeavor, right? Everybody has to work with each other, and building upon each other is a fantastic idea. So smart idea, and good on you for reaching out to other people to partner with.
Exactly. Yeah. We're trying. So, we have some exciting things in the pipeline that aren't confirmed, so I won't share them just yet, but we think we have some cool things coming down the line.
Very nice. And what kind of content can people put on? I was on it. I saw people singing and things like that. But is there other things that people put on there, like stage combat or anything like that? Some examples.
Yeah, so it's a great question. So we did initially we were always expecting performers to come to the site.
For sure.
We did the idea actually came from finding new musicals. As I sort of mentioned before, like not having those, perhaps you're a new writer and you don't have an agent, or you don't have those connections to an artistic director or producer yet. So
Hmm.
that's where the idea came from. So that's the base. We've gotten some fitness videos. I think we got like a couple Zumba things up there. We have some education stuff. And so the one that comes to my head, just because we did it, is KGM, which I had mentioned earlier. They did a couple interviews with some producers and casting directors, and so those are up there. We've gotten some like tips for actors. We've gotten some like video promos for shows that either happened or are coming to New York or anywhere else. So it's a little bit all over the map. It's kind of a catch-all for theater content. I should say choreography we've gotten.
Hmm.
So we've gotten like a little bit of everything. Designers, which I know is we don't video doesn't tailor as much to designers, but
Yeah.
we've gotten some stuff up there in the design world.
Very cool. Yeah, I clicked on a little while ago the new musicals pill, because that's what I really love to find, and I'm really excited to go through this and see the new shows out there and what's coming
Mhm.
out. Um, how does it work for the person? So that for example, I have a new show. I want to put it up there, some scenes and things like that. What is the
Mhm.
process to work through, and what kind of information do you have to put up there?
So it's kind of, we again, like, think of it as a YouTuber or a LinkedIn. So you create a profile, super easy, name, username, password, and then at that point you can build it out to add a cover photo. You can add website links, URLs, um, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And then at that point, it's pretty much just uploading the video, and we have an option. It's a title, description, as you mentioned, category. So new musicals is that category, and then you can create a playlist too, which is nice. And
Hmm.
so if you come up with a musical and you're like, I only have 5 songs from it, but here it is. You can create a playlist, and there you go. So it's pretty simple. I would say it's very similar to uploading a YouTube video.
Cool.
Is probably the closest thing we could compare it to.
Okay. And I guess, is there, like you said, there's links to contact the people and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So socials, website. We have a let's see. We are working with some writers to link to their sheet music. So if an actor
Nice.
is interested in potentially doing doing that song for an audition or something, we're working on that as we speak. And then there's a company called Broadway Plus, and they do like VIP experiences for Broadway shows.
Mm.
And we are working with them to get some of their VIPs on the site, and then linking out to their Broadway Plus experience. So if you see something you like, and if it's a Broadway star and you watch their video and you're interested in meeting them or booking a master class, or that type of thing, there's actually going to be a link to that person's page on Broadway Plus.
Very cool. And from what I can tell, is it free to join, or how does that work?
Yeah, 100% free to join and 100% free to view. I mean, you don't need an account to view too. So it's like, obviously you do need an account to upload a video, but
Yeah.
no, but aside from that, we try to make it as easy as possible to find new work.
So how does it work for you guys, from an economic standpoint? Because let's be honest, theater doesn't pay great,
Yeah,
and it's hard to do
exactly.
things for free.
Sure.
How does it work for you guys?
Yeah. So currently, like I said, we're still in beta. So
Mhm.
we don't, there's no ads on the site. But at some point, we're planning to introduce ads to the site, like pre-roll video ads and
Cool.
potentially sponsorships. That being said, we're attempting to not have like a Facebook or Instagram style where it, like, listens to you speak and then you get fed ads. We're hoping to stick with
Yeah.
like clean sponsorships as best we can, just for user privacy purposes.
Very cool. Well, then, if there's any businesses out there listening who are interested in, getting known and heard and being part of this fantastic new endeavor, they should definitely check out the website, which is, what is it again?
So it's 10glow.com. So it's 10, the number 1010, and then glow.com.
Cool. Okay. How the name? How did you get 10 Glow?
It's a good question. So it's kind of up for interpretation. We're not like stuck to any exact, right, as we do in theater. We're not stuck to any exact thing, but I would say the thought process behind it was like your 10 minutes of like your 10 minutes of glory type thing. Like 10 minutes of content. Now, that being said, everyone has a little bit of a different take on it, so it's kind of up for debate.
So how many of you are involved in this the project?
Sure. Yeah. It's currently, let's see, it's five of us. And we all span from different areas. Like I said, I come from the company management background, like general management background. Um, my colleague Daniel, he comes from the general management, company management, producer background. And then my two other colleagues come more from the marketing background, like and social media background. So they do a lot of our graphics and socials and all that good stuff. And then we have a developer who comes from the developing background, but in the Broadway world. And so he's familiar with what we're doing over here.
Nice. And I guess this is looking to go global, obviously. Have you approached places in the UK or Canada, where I am, or even different languages from different countries? How's that been going?
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, our first partnership was with Go Broadway, which is based in Spain. And so that was like our first international, it was our first partnership, but it was also our first international outreach. We started to branch out. Like I mentioned, we are hoping to do more of like a grassroots, like, as you said, you found it on Twitter, you were interested. And so for now, that's what we're looking at. We've gotten a couple writers from different places. I think most recently, I think like almost yesterday or the day before, we got a UK writer that just uploaded. So we're definitely, I think our whole thing when we thought about it is accessibility. And so like I had sort of mentioned before, like, you're in New York and London and you have access to like that network, right? Which is how you get to the West End or Broadway. Yeah. And so we definitely want to make sure we target those people in other areas, whether it's a different city or a different country or that type of thing. So that's sort of, so yes to your question. We'd love this to go global.
Yeah, because I think this would be a great opportunity. For example, a producer in the UK, they go on here, they check out the new musicals and go, hey, I'm really interested, because it's so hard to find the new musicals anywhere. Like, where do you look? YouTube, I guess you can search around, or Twitter if you're lucky to find it. So I think this is a fantastic idea.
Exactly. That was our idea. And I think we before really going full in, we spent a lot of time like trying to find new musicals, and it's really hard. And the stuff that comes up when you search it on YouTube, the stuff comes up has 100,000 plus views, or was done at XYZ Theater a couple of years ago. And so that's where they got their platform. So it's definitely challenging. So we're hoping to break into that market.
Nice. Very nice. Is there anything else you'd want us to know about 10 Glow? How to get involved with it if somebody was interested in, sponsorship or helping or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm totally biased, but I think everyone should check it out and take a look. Like I said, you don't have to create an account, so there's no strings attached. But if you were interested in like learning more, head to the website. We have plenty of information. We recently just launched a blog, actually, and so we've been doing a lot of features on new writers, and so people can check that out. Even if you're an aspiring writer and you're curious how this person got to where they are. So we're looking at that, and then we talk a lot more about like exactly why we created it and what barriers we hope to break down and all that. So if you were interested in what I was talking about, I totally encourage you to go to the website and learn some more.
Very cool. Because I'm definitely going to be promoting this on our social media and letting people know about it, because it's a great opportunity to, like you said, discover new people, performers, shows, anything of that sort.
Absolutely, exactly. So we'll take all the videos we can get.
Nice. Well, Tim, thank you so much for coming on and talking to me today about 10 Glow and introducing it to us and the listeners.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so great to chat with you.
Yeah, no problem. But before you go, I ask this of all my guests. I ask them three questions. Now, there's no right or wrong answer, but there is one wrong answer. So be careful.
Okay. I'll be careful.
Okay. So the first question is, Who is your favorite creator or team when it comes to either music, lyrics, or book?
Oof, that's a good question. My favorite creator, lyrics, or team.
I didn't say they'd be easy questions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, um, I would have to say, okay, I know this, I'm sure you've gotten this one a million times. I would have to say the easy one, obviously, is Lin-Manuel Miranda. And
Mhm.
I feel that way, I'll try to defend it, right? I feel that way not only because I think he's brilliant, but I do think that a lot of the work he's done has really transformed what we've seen go to the stage.
Mhm.
And so, like, I'm a huge fan of what Hamilton has done. Like or dislike the show, I think that they've transformed like who comes to Broadway, who
Mhm.
talks about Broadway, and then again we could have a whole other Zoom about streaming and all that. But I do think that they've broken the barrier a lot, and allowed for us to allow for theater to be more of a dialogue in a
Mhm.
circle, in like circles that it wasn't necessarily prior. So that's like my basic answer, but there you go.
That is the correct answer. I will accept that as answer number one.
Perfect.
All right. Question number two. I know you're not a performer, but if you did have to sing some kind of song, what song would it be to upload to 10 Glow?
Ooh, okay. Okay, I have to say I'm totally a Dear Evan Hansen fan, so I would probably do another basic answer, but I would probably do Waving Through a Window.
Could you sing some of it now?
I don't. I know that you would want that, or I would want that.
Okay. I thought I'd try, but
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Correct answer for number two as well. All right. Number three, most important one. Audience members eating food in the theater, yes or no?
Uh, I have to say no. I mean, coming from my like background studying theater, I have to
Yeah.
say no to that.
Okay. And
Drinks without ice though are okay. Like a wine in a cup, totally okay.
yeah.
Huge fan of that, but I can't. It's hard for me to get on board with like food or like the drinks with the ice in them.
Yeah. it's 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 always a difficult question, especially if you're coming from the back end because you're trying to make money. Like you're selling all
Yeah,
the food. So
exactly. I know. I guess like the like producer company manager in me should say yes, I'm totally on board for food, but
but yeah.
I do I do have to say that I'm not, as a theater goer, I'm not a fan.
Totally correct answer. I will accept all three correct answers. Congratulations on answering them all correct.
Perfect.
So, all right.
Well,
Well,
thank you so much for having me.
no problem. So, again, what is the website, Tim?
Sure, it's 10glow.com. It's the number 10 and then it's glo.com.
Awesome. So, everybody out there listening, you definitely got to check this out. Upload some videos. You never know if you're going to be discovered. Again, thank you, Tim, so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. So that was Tim Sebastian from 10glow.com. And we will be right back after these commercial messages with the creative and directing team of the new version of The Green Room, right here on Musical Theater Radio. Welcome back to another episode of Be Our Guest here on Musical Theater Radio. I am your host, as always, Jean-Paul Yovanov. It's going to be a chaotic show today, as there are 5 of us in the interview today. So, you know what? I'm so happy to catch up with these guys, as well as meet the one new person that's sitting in front of me. I've not met them yet, but I'm going to learn so much about them. Let's just jump right in. I'd like to welcome to the show Stephen, Chuck, Rod, and Paul, the creative team and director of the musical, The Green Room. Welcome, guys.
Thank you very much, Jean-Paul.
There we go. A nice chaotic start. Everybody says hi at once. All right. So if you are a listener of the podcast and the show, you know I interviewed the guys from the Green Room before. So what we're going to do is we're going to catch up on what has happened to the show. But before we do that, let's meet Paul, the director of the latest incarnation of the show. So Paul, give us your 30-second bio. Who is Paul in 30 seconds?
Who is Paul in 30 seconds? That's a rough start. I am a very innovative director. I like to pick apart each part and find the best parts and qualities of each character and make sure it's portrayed on the stage.
very succinct and tight and good. That's what you need in a director, right? Get everything done perfectly right there. Awesome. So let's delve into, before we get to your version of the green room that just went on, what is it, a couple of days ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about how the green room, a quick overview of the green room, what it is. So which one of you guys want to take this? Rod. I'm just going to pick somebody. Rod, give us the overview of the green room.
Well, it tells a tale of four characters, theater majors in college, and their trials and tribulations over time at a place where they congregate called the Green Room, which is, theater people know it's a place to await your entrance on stage, but to them it's more than that. That's where they hang out, and that's where, metaphorically, they're waiting on their life.
Nice and easy. Cool. So I got to see the show about a year ago, literally almost a year ago in New York. And I got to meet Chuck and Steven in person. They've been huge supporters of the radio station. So thank you for that, guys.
It's a great station.
Well, thank you. So I know you got to go to New York and not everybody does. So congratulations on that, getting your show in the Big Apple off Broadway.
Thank you.
How was that moment for you guys? That first, the lights come up and it's the first time you see it on stage.
Well, for me, this is Stephen Foster here. For me, it was just the most incredible, awesome experience ever, because we'd worked so hard to get it there and workshopped it. And so it was just an incredible, euphoric feeling to feel it go up in New York, in the Big Apple, because that's every musical writer's dream. And it was especially a big dream for us coming from Hollywood. And so it was a big day for us to have it off Broadway. Yeah, it was euphoric.
Cool. Chuck, what
And
about
I'll
yourself?
add to that it was exciting to be right there, not on Broadway, but on one of the streets off Broadway, where some of the biggest shows on Broadway were playing at the time. And I mean, to your point, I mean, just there we were that first night, walking past banners of some of the hugest shows on Broadway on the way to our theater. So we were right there in the middle of it. It was very exciting.
Very cool. And you got, how long was the run?
5 weeks.
5 weeks? Wow. And how many times did you guys get to see it?
And it was supposed to be 5 weeks. It was a closed-ended. They rented the producer rented the theater for exactly 5 weeks. So it ran exactly the way it was supposed to. It's not like it closed early or anything. We wanted a 5 week run, and we got a 5 week run. It was great.
And that's fantastic, because when I was there, I only saw off-Broadway shows, and I was going to go see one, and it did close the day before I was going to go see it. So the fact that you guys ran your 5 weeks, congratulations on that, and that was fantastic. It was a great show. It was fun to go see, guys. So
thank you.
Congratulations on that. So you finished your run in New York. You got your 5 weeks under your belt. What happened after that with the Green Room? Stephen.
Well,
Sure.
what happened after that is we, it becomes available to people. So we actually just I actually started shopping it around again for people to produce again, because when it was in New York, we sort of stopped all the rights to having any productions. So what I did is I just started pitching it around again, and then COVID hit and no one was buying shows. So it was like our show ended, I started pitching it around, and then COVID happened. And so we did this little Zoom selection performance. And then, and through shopping it around, I met Paul at Dramatically Incorrect. And he said, well, we're doing these shows where we tape them and we stream them. And it was like great synchronicity, because his intention and my intention sort of kind of collided. And so, now it brings us to the virtual world, which is where a lot of theaters have had to go.
Mhm.
And so that's sort of the evolution of what happened after we went to New York.
Very cool. Yeah, well, cool in the sense that it got put on again. Terrible that the sense that we have to figure out with the pandemic what to do with it afterwards. So
We had two productions at least lined up.
no,
One
wow,
of them was in London, and so those kind of got scuttlebutted and postponed for oh, we'll do it when this thing's over. And so having work just sit there and not go anywhere kind of makes me antsy. And
Mhm.
so I just started putting it out there. The virtual rights are available and leaving that kind of loosely defined. And for Paul, I know we said we're going to do it for these 2 nights. And then I said, well, let's just have it up there for as long as people want to see it. And so, it's like an open-ended thing now. It's not just the 2 nights, it's kind of open-ended, which is kind of great because now people can see the full green room as opposed to just selections that I have on YouTube and on our website.
Very cool. So let's go to you, Paul. How exactly did you get involved? I know Stephen said you guys met somewhere. Give us your experience of meeting Stephen and moving on from there.
All right. So I was just finishing up with the production of Clue that we were streaming. And we kind of filmed it like a movie. And next thing I have a message in my inbox for Dramatically Incorrect from Stephen. And I was like, oh my God. So I was like, how did you hear about us? And he's like, oh, I was watching you. So we got into conversation, and he couldn't even get through the full speech because I was like a power machine where I was like listening to the music and reading at the same time. And I was just like, I love it. We're doing it. He's like, when are you going to do it? I was like, we'll go for October. Now, meanwhile, this is like the end of August, beginning of September. So it was kind of like, all right, so we have literally a month to get this together. And I fell in love with the show. The guys' work, I mean, everybody's, all their input on the whole thing, the lyrics, the music, the book, it's just amazing. And, when I was reading through it, I could envision everything that's going on without even having anything in front of me. And that's how I usually, get my feels for all of my shows is if I can read something and envision it without having anything in front of me, then it's going to be a hit. And this show just takes precedence over everything that I've ever done. I love everything about it. And, I'm so happy that he reached out and I got to meet all 3 of them because they're just like family now. And, we're all going to have close relationships now because of the green room.
That's fantastic. Now, before we get into the production and how it went and all this stuff, was there any rewrites or any changes that happened in between New York and the digital production? Rod, was there anything that got modified, or was everything pretty much kept the same?
No, I think we kept pretty much everything the same. If and when we want to rewrite it, we'll think about it and
Okay.
and discuss it. So
sometimes when it gets on stage somewhere, you see and go, oh, I forgot, maybe I want to do this, but it seems to be a perfect gem, so it doesn't need to be touched.
There's a line that references the president. So whenever there's a change of president, we have to change that line. But nothing else is topical that I can think of. Although, people are always welcome to, update it if they want to, but it's just the president line is the one that we always have to change when power changes. Unless we did in Canada, we could use the prime minister.
It's true. Good.
Justin Trudeau.
Now, if we do it up here and we change the prime minister, do we have to go to you, Rod and Stephen, and get your permission to change that, or can we just do that unilaterally?
Well,
or you're going to sue us, or?
Well, no, it's in our contract because we control the rights.
Yeah.
It's in the contract that they can make modifications of the show.
Okay.
and add little ad libs or make it topical to where their school is their fictional school. But we do ask that everyone ask us for any rewrites or anything like that. Only primarily in terms of the lyrics, because we don't want people just adding their own lyrics, but as an improv line or a change in line, as long as it doesn't change the flavor of the script or the character, we don't mind people adding their own. In fact, I think in Paul's show, Cliff says, "Would you like a Coke?" Cliff says that to Devon, and I think at one point in the rehearsal she said, "No, but I'll take a whiskey." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's a funny line. That's a good," because some of the ad libs that these theaters that have done the show, we will actually incorporate them into the script, or people will see it online and they'll be inspired and they'll put it in their show. So we're very friendly about that. We like to be friendly with theater companies, and we like for them to make the show their own.
Yes. Cool. So with our permission, modifications, we don't want to activate our cadre of lawyers in the legal department of the green room, because they're nasty people. All 27 of them are.
Wow. Note to self: don't touch the show. Don't do anything if I put it on.
Well, just be polite and ask. That's all we ask.
That seems fair. All right. So, Paul, I'm going to talk to you about this production, and I know you have the fear of all that lawyer stuff over your head when you're going to put it on. How did that process start with the auditionings? Because obviously this is a completely different world now that's going on. So how did that start?
So with the auditioning process, here at Dramatically Incorrect, anything that we do that has auditions, we make sure that it's very limited to how many people come in at once. People have to sign up for certain times to come in. There's 5 people allowed in at once, and basically 3 are in the hallway, 2 are in the waiting room, and then 1 goes in one door to the dance studio part where the auditions take place, and then they leave through the other door, and as they leave, they go downstairs, and I have somebody downstairs taking temps when they walk in, making sure that there's no temperature. Everybody's required to wear a mask. So that's how our audition process went. And it's a lot more work for you, but it keeps everybody safe. And that is our main goal, is to keep everybody safe so we can continue doing what we're doing. Because without having theater, it's rough. Growing up doing theater your whole entire life, and then everything gets shut down. You're like, where do we go? It's like, whenever I have frustration, that's where I go. I dance and I do theater. So auditions on that aspect, that's how we run the auditions. And then it's the same thing with rehearsals. We have to wear masks during rehearsals. This group was a little different because we've worked together side by side since July. Mm-hmm. So we get tested on a regular, just because I'm a high risk, and if I want to see my mom, I have to make sure that I'm good because she's definitely a high risk.
For sure.
So, everybody that's a part of the cast, we make sure they aren't going out and having fun with their friends like everybody is doing, because that's just not how we can stay safe at all. Yeah. So in the contract right now, they kind of like, this is where you can be. Outgoing is here.
Okay.
So
if doing theater wasn't hard enough before.
Yeah, no.
Tell me about it.
So, Chuck, were you there for the auditions to hear them sing the songs and be part of that, or was it more? Was there another team that was involved?
No, we had nothing. I had absolutely nothing to do with the auditions. Paul's team. Paul had a music director and a assistant music director, and I mean, he can speak to how involved they all were, but essentially they as he said, we had seen I think all 4 of these actors before, because we'd seen, as he said, he was finishing Clue when he met Steven, and then they did a production of Noises Off. So it was kind of fun that we were able to see the actors that were in the green room and say, that's in different order. Like when we were watching Noises Off, we knew the actors from the green room. So when Noises Off came on, we were like, oh, that's the girl playing Devon. Hey, that's So it's fun having been the third production that he's streamed online like this, because you can see the actors appear in different sort of environments, almost like a company rep sort of thing, but it's not that. But it's fun seeing those faces over and over again. So, but no, I had nothing to do with it.
All right, so it was.
I trust Paul. I trust Paul completely, especially now that he's done the production, and we're so pleased. I trust him.
So wait, what are you saying before the production went up?
Well, you always are
the
nervous.
lawyers are on standby, I guess.
You're always a little nervous. You never know. Yeah. Anybody who's seen this production knows that the four actors have so much going on in their heads. Paul, obviously, I haven't even asked him this question, but I just know as a director, he must have gone through a lot of backstory with them and a lot of subtext with them, because it's just so rich. It's a good, rich performance. And we've seen versions of it where people are just rattling off the lines, and this was just the opposite of that. There was so much depth to all four actors, and I just know that that's a conversation between him and them, it's so yeah. You're always a little nervous. But when you see the production, you know whether you had a good director. We had a great one on this one.
Nice. So, Paul, that was after I saw who was in it and everything. I was talking with Steven, I think, in emails. You have quite the international flavor of cast members. Tell us a little bit of a quick thing about all your four cast members.
So about them personally, or like
whatever you want. It's your interview.
Well, I mean, I can go back to casting it. When casting the show, the way I look for somebody in that character is to see them be real, not act. I don't want to see you act. I want to see you be real with this character. So with this show, these four characters are very descriptive. So they all have really strong personalities. And, you want to try and relate these characters to real life people. So as these people auditioned, take Michelle, for example. Michelle's amazing. Michelle played Devon. So Michelle came in here and she was dressed the part, and you could tell she really wanted it.
Yeah.
But why do you want this role? Tell me. Be straightforward with me. I don't want you to make anything up. Tell me why you want this role. And she went through this whole entire spiel, how she never thought she was good enough. She never had a lead role in her life. She's never really been on stage. People just kind of laugh at her and joke at her and, just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But, since she started with our company, I mean, she has grown to where she has been like amazing throughout. If I can give her a lead role every time, I would. But, I try not to do that because, we are a community and everybody deserves a chance to be in that spotlight. So, when she came in, I mean, that's Devon all over. I mean, Devon had a rough life. Devon, her dad was always on her case. The same thing with Michelle. It was the same type of storyline. So for her, I saw that in her. And it's the same with every other character. I made sure that I quizzed them and I got a feeling of who they were. And then I made sure I did my homework and knew who each one of these characters were. I must have read through the script at least 30 times before auditions to make sure I knew who each character was inside and out. Because as a director, you should know before you even have auditions what you're getting yourself into.
For sure. So you've got your cast now and you started rehearsals. So how long was rehearsals? Just like a couple of weeks or 3 weeks or something like that, I'm guessing?
Rehearsals started in September and we rehearsed twice a week for like 3 hours each. Okay. So the unique thing we did with this was the music director and assistant music director did not see any staging, any choreography, any part of the show.
Okay.
They strictly worked on music. So, you know, I did that because I wanted them to be able to sit back while we were doing the performance so I can get a natural reaction to make sure we did our job on this end. And, you know, Olivia, the assistant music director, she was in hysterics. Like, she was sobbing by the end of the show. And it was just like, you know, my first question was, what made you cry?
Yeah.
Like, what did you feel? I want to know what you felt. You know, and she just went right into it. She's like, you know, it's my senior year at college. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to, you know, graduate at the end of my senior year, you know, and that kind of like hits home. It's sad, you know, the students that lost graduation last year, the students that are going to lose graduation this year. It's a really hard feeling. Yeah. And a lot of people, I mean, I'm pretty sure Stephen, if anybody talked to Rod and Chuck about, you know, the performance, you know, the way I directed this and I moved it on, you know, it's really touching for a lot of parts. And then, you know, when it got to the point where people are really at their throats, I made sure they were at their throats. And it was very believable, you know, and sometimes the characters broke out after we were rehearsing. They're like, I really was mad. I don't know what I was mad about, but I really got mad because they really got into that character. So it was really fun, and it's a great show to do. So
very cool, very cool. So it was produced on stage, so the actors were on stage, but it was recorded like for lack of a better term, like a TV show or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We had 2 cameras filming at once.
And so was it done live, or was it was shot and then edited later?
We shot it and then we edited. We had a week to edit.
Okay, cool. And Stephen, how was that for you? You saw it on in New York live, and now you get to see it digitally. How did that affect you when you first saw it?
Well, when I first saw it in New York, that's a different experience because you have the audience there and you feel viscerally what they feel, and I felt viscerally what the actors felt. You know, it was like a double whammy for me sitting there, like I felt like I was being electrocuted, honestly. And then when I saw Paul's version, it was extremely satisfying and wonderful for me because they filmed it as a play, but it was like it was without an audience, and it was just like they had taken the show, and the only way I can describe it is the similarity between New York and Paul's show is that I always say it feels like I'm watching a shadow box of my own college life, because the show is not my college life, but so many elements of it are my college life, and I feel like I'm being transported back there. So watching Paul's version, it was so intimate what he did, and the space is so small. And the camera, what I love about the camera is it picks up the nuances of the lines and the characters and the songs. And so nothing is missed because all of that is picked up by the beautiful camera. So for me, it was like very rewarding, and I'm happy that his show is going to be, we're going to make it to where it's streamable in the future, not just 2 nights, because I really endorse his product and really endorse what he does, because I think it will resonate with a whole bunch of people, whether they're in college or they've been in college. And I think it's going to show people a whole new a whole new energy around the green room, because the clips online from the Hermosa Beach Playhouse, that was a 500-seat theater where we premiered at the Hermosa Beach, and it looked huge. And what Paul's production does is it makes it very intimate, and I think people are gonna go, oh my God, that's me. And I think it's gonna open a whole new avenue for our show.
Yes, I totally agree. And your show it is intimate. It's a forehand or in one room, and putting it into something 500 seats, it'll work great still, but it's just the energy from the stage, I think, is missing probably.
Yeah.
And the small screen maybe brings that out. Rod, how did you feel when you saw it? Was there something that's in the show when you know all the lines, you've written them, but was there something that they went, oh, I never thought of it being done that way or said that way? Or
Well, it's the Cliff and the sword that I just, and I've seen, I don't know how many times I've seen it and how many different versions I've seen it, but it's like, and on one hand, it's the joy of discovery, and the other hand, you're kicking yourself. You're like, why didn't I think of this? I mean, all the times, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I write this into the stage directions? But I just think it was amazing to have the drive to do this during a pandemic, and I just think it's wonderful, and I'm a little jealous because because they have so much energy. Maybe they're younger. I won't admit to it, but maybe they're energetic because they're much younger. But
you're only a couple of years out of college, right? This is radio. Nobody knows.
Oh yeah. I mean, if I weren't here, I'd be in grad school.
There you go. And how about for you, Chuck? What was your reaction to hearing your songs that you wrote and the music on the small screen, but coming through still the way?
It's always fun, but this was particularly fun. First, because they all had very specific choices. And I don't know if this is the actors, or I'll bet it was the actors and Paul making sure that they had very specific choices, but they made choices that I'd never seen before. Mm-hmm. Lots of them, lots and lots and lots of very specific choices that had been completely different than we'd ever seen. I mean, that's whenever you see great actors like a Uta Hagen or something, you always notice the really strong choices, just like, oh, that's not just right off the page and you're speaking it. That's something really, really different. That was true in every song. Like all three solos were just completely different takes on those songs, which we've heard not just in the shows, but people have done them in cabarets. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the three solos. They were very, very strong choices and just wonderful. The blues duet, they just sounded so blues. Leo, who sings the first verse of that blues song, I guess actually is the lead singer of a rock band. Mm-hmm. And we'd never really had that before. And so here this guy, whoa, what happened? It's almost like the moment in Little Shop where Ellen Green pops into Suddenly Seymour, and she becomes a totally different. She's a little mouse character, and she becomes this huge character. And Leo breaks into this really bluesy things, which makes total sense, because here this guy has been slaughtered. There's another moment at the end where I could go on for 9. I'll stop with this. There's a moment where Meredith, who plays Anna, says the line, "I just want to pick up every scrap of paper and take it with me." And as Rod said, we've seen this many, many, many times, but I've never seen somebody break down on that line. And as soon as we saw that, I was watching it with Steve, and we both started to cry when she did that, because of course she would break down, and yet nobody's ever made that bold choice. Yeah. So that was the excitement about it.
We've got the show under your belt. It went up for a couple of nights, I believe. And Stephen, you said it was going to be available perhaps at some point for people to watch later. Is there any information on that yet?
Actually, I'll let Paul answer that.
Okay, Paul.
You gotta let me it.
Yeah.
So yes, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a tab on our website for the green room only, which will have access to the streaming of the production, which is $10 to rewatch. We also have, we're going to have pictures up, little video snippets for them to see. We do have merchandise. Like these fancy things right here.
Nice.
Little things like that, just so everybody gets to know the green room, and it will have a link for the green room to go to their website so people can look into it if they want to perform it.
Cool. Is there a timeline on this, or are you still working through the green room lawyers to figure that out?
So we're trying to get it, me and Steven have been working together to try and figure out, how fast we can get it up. Okay. So I'm waiting for my brother-in-law to finish what he's doing so we can get it going up on there on our website at ditgdc.org.
Very cool. Yeah, as soon as it's up, you let me know. I will promote it on my social media accounts and let everybody know where to find that and that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Cool. So I'm going to ask each one of you this, but Paul, so what's next for you? You finished that show. Where do you go from here?
Well, I have quite a drive, and with this whole, we have to record things and do it that way, it gives us more time to do more. Yeah. So I literally have a show every month until May.
Wow.
And it started with Clue. It started with Clue, and then it's not going to stop. So we have Death Trap coming up next.
Nice.
And then we've got, I don't know if you guys heard of Star Kid, but we have Firebringer coming up in March.
Cool.
So.
All right. Well, if you have any musicals coming up, you let me know and I will promote those for sure.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Rod, what are you up to after this? What are you up to now?
Well, I did a video of one of Chuck's songs early in the pandemic, When I Reached the Ocean, and I was able to do that totally remotely. Maybe some more of that. I've done some song parodies, which have a political nature, which never seem to catch on.
Nobody's
depending on the election,
right now.
maybe they're not interested in my take on politics, but we'll see. We'll see how the election goes, and maybe I won't have to worry about that. Of course, you're north of the border, so there's some sanity that lives up there. So I guess you don't have to worry as much about it as
we still have to worry. I think outside of you guys, we're the next ones who have to worry because, when you're neighbors with somebody, what happens in the backyard, you still have to see and hear and deal with. So cool. All right. And Stephen, what are you up to right now?
Well, I am currently pitching the green room, of course, and I am actually I'm writing some more scripts, and I'm moving everything that I have, my acting book and the green room. I'm moving that all online because I think that's where everything's going, at least for now. So I'm writing and I'm producing, I'm putting stuff out there, just more online. We just did a Zoom select performance of the green room,
I watched that.
Everything is, we're doing everything we can to get everything online. So I'm just working on new material, and as an actor, I'm sort of cooling my heels right now because of everything's going on. Even though business is opening up, show business, I'm still very skeptical and leery that they're not gonna be like Paul and make sure that everyone wears a mask, at least here in Hollywood. I think they're so rushed and frantic that they're gonna just kind of drop the ball on a lot of things. So I'm just putting my work as a writer out there, and I'm working on new scripts, and just doing readings of them. I did a reading of my show Diva Analysis, and we did a Zoom reading of it.
Cool.
And that was very well received, you know, and so I'm doing a lot of that, and I'm looking forward to promoting the Green Room more with Paul and his website and my website. So that's going to be fun.
Very cool. And Chuck, what about yourself?
Oh, just various things. A few years ago, I wrote and directed a short film that Stephen starred in, and we took that to festivals, and I've got another couple projects that I'd like to do with that. But in terms of musicals, a couple other scripts that I'd like to film. But in terms of musicals, I usually write music and lyrics together. But there's the reason I do that is because I'm really particular about the lyrics. And there's one gentleman that who lives in New York but used to live out here that I've written a couple different little projects with. And he's such a great lyricist that I love writing the music to his lyrics. And he recently asked me to do a children's show. So we're just in the initial stages of coming up with that. And actually writing music, I guess I've done that twice in two different projects where I've just written the music and not the lyrics. And one with him and one with someone else, but it's actually a lot easier because you're just the lyrics just come to you and you're like, okay, this is what it is. I'm not going to change anything, or I'm going to do my damnedest not to change anything, and all I have to do is come up with pretty melodies, and it's so much less stress, honestly. So looking forward to that, and just always writing songs. I mean, I released a solo album like a few years ago, and I was been so busy with all these projects that I've never really spent any time getting that thing out there. So probably spend some time getting that out there too.
Very cool. Well, congratulations to all you guys on getting this up on its feet again, especially during the pandemic, and from everything I hear and know about it, it was fantastic. And congratulations on that. So good luck with everything, and break a leg. And I know I was sent from Stephen some exclusive cuts of the show. So you want to tell us a little bit about that before, because after the interview, I'm going to follow it up on the radio station with these cuts. So if you want to tell me just a little bit about the songs and the listeners.
Paul. This was Paul's baby, these new tracks.
Nice.
Oh, okay. We're talking about the tracks.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, so I just thought it was, in the building that I'm in, we're a lot of artists. There's recording studios, there's bands. So the guy next door, I got to know, I've been here for 2 years, and, he works with a lot of rappers, and he kind of wanted to get onto, he loves musicals, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
So we got into the conversation, and I'm like, well, I haven't heard any of the updated tracks. So, as a gift for, to all the guys, let's make them a CD. Nice. It's just, it'll give you experience learning how to master, actual musicals or music, because rappers rap, singers sing. So it's a big difference, editing and engineering and
for sure
getting all that planned. So, the cast was like, I'm on board. So that's what we did. And the tracks that we sent was It Comes Easy. All you want to do is Do Me Blues, and In the Green Room.
Yep.
So, the cast worked hard, the engineer worked hard, and, I sent it over to Steven. Steven and Chuck listened to them. I don't know if Rod had a chance to listen to them, but I mean, they came out pretty good. I mean, I'm loving it. I love hearing it in my car, and it's like, it's awesome to be able to do a project like that.
Very cool. Well, we're gonna play them here. It'll be the premiere on our station of these songs, and they will be added into the rotation so everybody can enjoy them throughout the world. Well, at least the US, UK, and Canada. But they'll be able to hear it. I want to thank you all, Chuck, Stephen, Rod, and Paul, for coming on today again and talk to me and letting me know how it's going with the Green Room. And again, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you,
Thank you, John.
Jean-Paul.
Yeah,
Nope.
thank you for having us.
No problem. All
Really
right. So that was, like I said, Chuck, Stephen, Rod, and Paul, the creative and directive teams of the new incarnation of the Green Room. Tune in next week when we'll be speaking with another guest or guests about their love, life, and passion that is musical theater. I'm Jean-Paul Jovanoff. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. We love supporting and promoting the creators of musical theater throughout the world, and we would love to have your support as well. Go to musicaltheaterradio.com and click on the Become a Patron button, because a supportive community is a strong community.